Hey, you guys, thank you for tuning in to Real News Talk. I am your Real News Talk show host, and I am coming to you once again with another story, breaking news about Tatiana Jefferson. Remember the girl that was shot by the police officer in Fort Worth, Texas, and she was actually shot and killed in her own home, standing in her window because she heard noise outside of her home. She was playing with her little nephew, video games. I think they said it was a game called the Call of Duty. My thing to you guys is that actually it was she was the daughter of a father who actually she was his only daughter. So her father finally came out in the media because they were trying to keep him away from burying, having a part in the burial of his daughter Atatiana Jefferson. Now, he said that he had gotten a call from her mom. Her mother was in the hospital, and he had gotten a call actually from her mom saying our daughter had been shot. So, and then later she said, well, actually, she has been killed by the Fort Worth Police Department. And so from that moment on, he was trying to be a part of his daughter's funeral. However, the siblings and the aunt, which is the sister, I guess, of her mother, they all iced him out of the situation. At that point, he had to hire an attorney to go and get a restraining order so that he could bury his own daughter himself, which he had every right to do so. He also said that there was a GoFundMe page, and he had wrote the attorney and told him to stop the GoFundMe page because of the fact that he was going to pay for his own child. Now, in my mind, I thought that was so great that he wasn't concerned about the money for his child. He didn't even go after the GoFundMe money. He didn't even ask for it. He just wanted to delete it so that he can put his daughter to rest on his very own. Because he had taken out an insurance policy on her, they said, I think since she was 8 years old, because the girl had diabetes. So he had taken an insurance policy out on his daughter, and he had paid it for like 20 years, I heard. And to me, that said a lot about him. I don't know him personally, but I know me being raised by my dad and having my dad in my life, that meant so much to me as it probably would the child. There is no one on this earth comes before a parent that created you through God and gave you life on this earth. No one comes unless that parent is on drugs, unless that parent is a rapist, an abuser, or something of that sort. In this particular case, the spokesperson identified all of the great things that her father did for her. And it seems to me that they probably had Tatiana Jefferson late because the father seemed to be an elderly man, older than an average child that would have a father, that would be her age, 28, with an older father. I'm not sure if he had something to happen. They just look like they're older. It seemed like he was a little nervous in his speaking and so forth and so on. But my take is that it was really something, you guys, for him to be heartbroken and to not actually have a part in his very own daughter's burial. And he said it was this aunt who had already did some fraudulent things with that child, like used her for tax purposes. And I think her mother or someone made the aunt pay back those taxes. So he was saying that he already had problems with that aunt. And I remember, I don't know if you guys saw it, but when they had an interview with the family right after the murder of Tatiana Jefferson, the family was all together. And the aunt spoke when it was her time to speak. She did say, well, and for that father, he's not her father. If he want to have anything to do with this, he needs to come to us, and we're willing to talk to him. Willing to talk to him? If that is her father, he has to let you know if he's willing for the other people to talk to him. Because it seems that things were in the wrong perspective. And the reason I'm saying that, I don't know anything about these people, I'm only going, you guys, what I see online, what I read. The only reason I'm saying that he must have been her father is because the judge granted him that restraining order so that he could give his daughter the burial to where he wanted to be, when he wanted to be, how he wanted to be, and that's what happened. And so I guess because I haven't heard anything else, it is going to be the way he wanted to be. Because during the interview with him and his spokesperson, they said that the family probably would hire someone illegal to break that restraining order and go ahead with the burial. But I don't think that happened because I haven't seen it online anywhere. I haven't seen it in the news. So I guess the restraining order still stands, and the funeral home has Tatiana's body still there because they're honoring what the judge has given her father. And I know the judge probably saw all kind of documents. He probably knew that it was her father. And like the father said, the mother has always been there for him and his daughter. And the siblings didn't come out and say anything negative either. It was the aunt. So I noticed that it's this aunt that has come up to the plate to take full control, seems like, of the situation between the father and the child that was killed by the Fort Worth Police Department. And so this man did everything he was supposed to do to stand up and fight for his rights as a father. He did what he was supposed to do. He did what, if I was a father, I would have done the same thing. Nobody's going to bury my child against my rights. And they didn't do anything for her. He did everything for her. Because the spokesperson said even when she went to college, she stayed there. And the stepmother had known her for 10 years. And she went to college, and that the father lived in Xavier College in Louisiana. And she was going to be a medical doctor. And so they took that time to get that child there, get her in school, and put her on the right track. And he had the child from a baby up until some time that he had her himself. So he had the rights to bury that child where he wants to bury her. It was told that it was going to be buried at T.D. Jakes Church. However, that stopped. And I think Al Sharpton and other people were going to attend the ceremony and do a speech regarding the child's death. That was something else. First of all, it was enough knowing that a police officer, I'm not going to even go into color, walked into Tatiana's family's backyard with her there playing with her nephew. Of course she would have a gun. Of course she should have a gun in her home to protect her very own home. And if anybody would walk in anyone's backyard and they hear noise, they're going to grab their weapon. Because the cop did not identify himself. If he would have identified himself, that would have never happened. He would not be facing time, and she would not be dead. That was really horrific. And for the nephew, the little 8-year-old nephew, to actually see the man shoot his aunt that he was playing games with right before his eyes. That is something that will be stuck in that kid's mind for the rest of his life. I don't care how strong they say he's being. I know he's in therapy, but that is still going to be a scar in his mind for the rest of his life. And once we have these scars, you guys, you can pray to God to live with them. However, they never go away. Just think about something that happened horrific in your life. Everybody's going to experience some pain, some trauma, something, because you're human, and we're all human. It's going to happen. But think about a child, 8 years old, going through something such as that could have been avoided if that Fort Worth police officer would have done his job by knocking on that door like, anyone there? I'm the police officer. I'm here doing a welfare check. Did he do that? No, he didn't. And also, he did not even want to cooperate with the police officers, I've been told. I've been reading this online, and the police chief said he has not cooperated with them. And you know why? Because he knew he was guilty. The man was guilty. Guilty as all get out, because he knew he did not knock on that door. That was really something. And then now for this father to grieve again. He was already in grieving from his child, the loss of his child, and now to grieve because the family is trying to boot him out of burying his child and taking control of his own child. I mean, even if people are adopted, just like I have a girlfriend that's adopted. Even so, once it's your child, it's your child. Just like people go to sperm banks and they buy kids. If they bought it, it's theirs. It's the legal right. So a lot of people say, even at home, it's like, that's not his child. Well, the mother let him be a part of it. Her last name is Jefferson, like his. So it's still his child. He paid for her to do this and that. Did you? It's his child if the judge honored his request. Otherwise, if the judge felt like he did not deserve that request, he wouldn't have gotten it. I'm just going to be honest with you. Those judges, 9 times out of 10, unless they're crooked, they're going to do the right thing and they're going to read the documents. Now, we know there are crooked judges out there. They're crooked judges and they're coming down just like the police officers and everyone else. They're getting busted for doing wrong things too. But if a judge sees that a father is a father to a child that has died, and someone else is taking control for the love of money, when this person wants to do it from the kindness of their heart, because he paid the insurance policy for 20 years and he already had it ready for his daughter. He even sent a letter and told them to stop the GoFundMe page. Now, how big is that when the money was like over $230,000? Stop it, cut it out, give it back. I don't want it. I don't need it. So what is the money for if the father's saying he don't need it? Who's going to get the money? And you know who I feel should get it? I feel like the mother who's in the hospital ill and the father should get the money for the child. Well, they don't need it now for the burial because I heard 2 professional athletes paid for the funeral. So the funeral is paid for and the money is just sitting there, GoFundMe. Where was it going? Why would it go to the family instead of the parents? That's what I'm trying to say. And the spokesperson for the father said, for Atatiana Jefferson's dad said, if they use that money and it's not used in the proper manner, when that money is supposedly go for her, and the father has said he don't need it, then the FBI's would step into place. They would take it further. So if I was them, I would just turn that money over to the parents and be done with it. Because I saw online, I don't know if you guys saw this. Remember when this guy was homeless, and so people were giving him money from everywhere. He was just homeless, and people was just donating money, you guys. And then come to find out, he was in a scam with the people that took him in. Oh my God, and so then he got charged. So it's a lot of scheming and scamming stuff going on, this GoFundMe stuff, and they're finding out, and they're really, really busting people that's doing these illegal things just for the love of money. Because what people don't know, and it seems to me that that father knows, that money, you can't take it with you. Why do wrong to leave it behind for someone else to fight for, like they're fighting for the money? They're fighting for the money now. When they leave, someone's going to fight for their money. I mean, but why would you do it when you know the money is going to be here when you're dead and gone? Do the right thing and not worry about it. But to fight for someone else's money off of someone else's child, to me, that's pretty doggone cold. It is. Because I know my daddy would, oh my God, if my daddy was living and somebody would try to bury me and it wasn't him, he'd can tear up the world. You ain't buried my child. That's my child. I'm the one who took care of her, not you. Just like I said, my girlfriend is adopted, and her adopted mother and I, we became very close. So I was kind of like her daughter too, because she always wanted children. And you can't tell. I mean, because of the love was there, she took care of that child. She took care of that child and spent her hard-earned money on that child and raised that child and taught that child morals, taught that child respect. Like he said, he used to read to her, read. He put all of that into his child. The people that want the money, they didn't do that. He did. Just like my girlfriend's mother did everything for her. And that was why when my girlfriend would get out of line with her mom, I would tell her, oh no, you don't do that. You go and take care of your mom. Because she took you in when nobody else was doing it. And so in the end, because it was her child, guess who they had to call? Her adopted child, because that was her only child, just like this man, Atatiana Jefferson's daddy, saying that's my only girl. My only girl, he said. So, I don't care what people say. For the love of money is the rule of all evil, and people fight over your money when you're dead. And that young lady may be flipping over in her grave, right? Well, she's not in her grave, but her soul may be just flipping over that these people are doing this man like that. And he said the last words he said to Tatiana was, I love you. He had texted her, and she texted him back and said, I love you too. How powerful is that? So yes, he deserves a person that put into that child. Like I said, people go to sperm banks and buy kids and they're theirs. People adopt kids and they're theirs. And if Tatiana's mother gave her child to this man, because like he said, him and the mother had no issues. So why is it issues with all these other secondary people, like, behind the parents? Why is it issues if that mother who carried that baby 9 months gave her to him? It's still his child. It's his child. If she gave it over to him, it is his child. He raised her from a baby. It's his child. It's his child. Nobody else did what he did for her. So that's just the way it is. You can't take that away. And the judge saw that. And he gave him the restraining order to stop that funeral. So now the father's going to have a funeral, I understand, on Thursday. And he stepped up to the plate because he wasn't letting it go down like that. He said, oh no. He said his work is not done. Now to me, that's a real father. That would be my father. First of all, my father wouldn't have let it wouldn't have gotten that far. He would have stopped it, slap dab Johnny on the spot before a penny was put in GoFundMe. He would have stopped it. That's my daughter. Who are you to take that away from me when I'm the one that raised her? I'm the one that sent her to school. Well, actually, they said she was working in medical sales to save money to help pay her way into medical school. But he taught her respect, go to school, get your education. And you can tell she was a very classy young lady. She was very, very classy. So I wanted to just come and say that because I heard about the father had to fight and get, even though he paid for all that. So you know what? I think a lot of that money from that GoFundMe should really go back to him, to that father, because a lot of times people get attorneys involved in situations. Lee Merritt, I'm not saying that anything is wrong with what he's doing because he's hired by the family. So see, anytime an attorney takes on a case, he really sometimes don't know all that other little dirt that had been going on. All he knows, he's coming on the scene now, and he's only there to represent the family off of what they are telling him. He had no idea that the aunt probably had frauded before, like the father said. The father's spokesperson said she had frauded the government and had used his daughter on her tax returns, and I think the daughter's mother, someone made her pay it back. That attorney probably didn't know any of that until this stuff all came out. You see what I'm saying? So attorneys can get involved because they're getting paid to do their job, and they get caught up in it. So now it's either he's going to fight for them to keep that money, or he's going to tell them they're going to have to give that money over to the parents, because the parents are she's the root from them. They're the root of her, actually. So that's my take on it, you guys. Parents come first. Mothers and fathers come first. Like I said, I wouldn't care if you was bought from a donor place. If that kid, that's all they know. And you know how many kids are actually running around here that have been bought from the sperm bank, you guys? Oh my God, it's so many kids that really don't even know who their parents are. Really, they don't. They don't. And so they're raised by people that are telling them that I am your father. And guess what? They are, because they bought them. They bought them. And that's why I tell fathers, a lot of fathers, when they're going through it, with their child, and the parents, the mother don't want them to see the child or whatever, I tell them, I said, don't worry about it. I say, you're not alone. I said, because there are so many kids out here, because oftentimes they worry about how the kid feels to go to school and not have their father when other kids have their parents. But I tell the fathers, don't worry. If the mother don't want you to see their baby, one day the child's going to get grown and she'll find you on her own. And then those people that did wrong and took away a loving father from a child, they would have to pay for that through God. And it's going to happen. Every knee must bow and every tongue shall confess when you do wrong against a child that God created on this heaven and earth. It's a no-brainer. It's going to happen. So why not be right? Why not be fair and let the child have both parents, like mine did? Even when they broke up, we still knew both our parents, because the child didn't marry the parent. The parents married each other. Why put your child in the middle? Why use a child for money, like in this case? Why use a child for money? Why? It's just not right to use them for baits. Children didn't ask to come here. Why use a child for money? It's just not right. So in this Atatiana Jefferson case, the young lady that was shot and killed by the Fort Worth Police Department, I hope justice is served for her burial. As I said earlier, they were going to bury her at Potter's house. However, the father stopped that. He stopped the funeral because they wasn't letting him be a part of it with his child. And when he found out about that GoFundMe page, when he has an insurance policy, and now he don't have to even use the insurance policy because someone already paid for the funeral. You guys, I am just so happy the father will be able to get himself some kind of release from this, because the pain is horrific enough to go through it when others are just going through it for the love of money. And the girl was a beautiful girl. She was there to help everybody. 9 times out of 10, when you help people, they always tend to be greedy off of you or not really want anything but what you can do for them. And then in the end, you know what they do? They turn around and kick you in the butt. And I think that's what was happening in this case with this young lady. She was too good to be true. People take your kindness for weakness. Because first of all, I would have given him the respect, knowing that he raised her. She has his name. The mother was okay with it. It would have been between him and the mother. Not all these aunties and actually even the siblings, because they didn't take care of her. She was taking care of everybody. It seems like she was helping a sister who had heart surgery, trying to help her with her 2 boys, and she was there actually with the sister's son who saw her get shot, and she went back home to help her mother because her mother was sick. Nobody else did it. She did it. She did it. So if that mother called that father to say, our daughter has been shot and killed, let it be that, because that's what the mother said. That's what the mother wanted. The mother had nothing to do with all of this other stuff that was going on around Atatiana Jefferson. So God intervened that. There was some similar situation happened with me in that case. Actually, when my father passed, and he had remarried, and when my father passed, my stepmother didn't want any of his kids to have anything to do with his funeral. Matter of fact, she didn't even let us have no parts of it. And you know how the limos normally leave the family house? She had it leaving her kids' house, not our house, so that she could keep everything to herself and take full control of my father. It was 8 of us that he had. How horrific was that? But when she did that, you guys, when she did that, I knew that something drastic was going to happen. And not long after he passed, guess what? She passed. And she was way younger than my dad too. But I knew when she did that, even though she tried to keep us away from having a part of my father's funeral, we all hired a limo and left from his house anyway. She was leaving from her kids' house. We left from my daddy's house, hired our own limo. We all had on white, and we did it in first class the way it should have been done. And guess what? Guess what? We were on the freeway, and we saw a limo, a hearse. And guess who it was? It was my daddy. It was my daddy. And we told the limo driver, "Get behind it, they're my daddy. Get behind it, they're my daddy." You see? You cannot do wrong and get by with it, because God revealed it right there. And so therefore, even though we was not in the hearse, but we was right on the heels of it, right behind it. Get behind it. Our limo driver jumped right behind that hearse, and we followed. I bet you she almost had a fit. She didn't know what to do. And she was wondering, how in the hell did that happen? Because where she left from was totally way, way away from where we left from. It just so happened that we were on the same freeway and saw my daddy when this lady did not let us have a part of my father's funeral. And we ended up being a part of it anyway. And so I knew right then. I said, oh my God. I said, oh, why did she do that? I said, my daddy gonna come back and get that lady for doing his kids like that. We are his seeds, not her. She's no blood kin. We were. She had just married my daddy because she was way younger and just to try to get stuff off of him, and she died. She didn't live long after doing that crazy stuff. A young woman. So you see what I'm saying? God does not like ugly. So with that, you guys, I'm going to end my show. This is the Real News Talk Show. I'm telling you some real news here. This stuff happened to me. This is real. This is no joke. It's not fabricated. It's not fake. It's real. And that's why I named my show The Real News Talk Show, because I'm going to tell it to you in the real way. Some people may like it. Some people may not. My mom always told me the truth hurts. It does. The truth hurt people. People like bullshit all day long, but when you tell it straight like it is, they can't deal with it because something is wrong with them in their minds. Bullshit people draw bullshit people. Real people draw real people. I don't want to be around nobody that's fake, not me. I'd rather be by myself locked up in a matchbox before I want to be around phony ass people. And that's just the way I'm going to put it to you. So thank you for tuning in, and please, please click like, share, and subscribe so that I can come back again with more real news talk. I am your real news host, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget, click like, share, and subscribe. Bye.